What's up, everybody? It's Rob Brandt.
And this is Rick Brandt, and we are the Brothers Brandt.
Welcome back. Episode 129 of the Brothers Brandt podcast. College football bowl mania.
Here we go, Robbie boy. Here we go. It's bowl season. What do you like more? Wedding season or bowl season? Bowl season or wedding season? What do you like, Rob?
Got to go with the bowls, baby.
Who doesn't love bowl season, Rob? This year we're action-packed, 43 bowls. It's going to be fantastic. The action kicks off December 16th. We're going to dive deep into all of our bowl predictions. We're going to talk a little college football playoff here on episode 129 of the Brothers Brandt podcast. Make a few predictions, have some fun with it, and it's just a wonderful time of the year.
It really is great. It's a great way to cap off the end of the year. You got so much going on. You got NFL. Now we got college football. We got basketball going on. We got hockey going on. It's nice to have these bowl games on like random times as well. So,
you got to love the Tuesday afternoon at like 3:30, just flipping it on, checking out the Cheez-It Bowl. Come on. Who doesn't love just college football in the middle of your workday?
It's fantastic. I'm loving this World Cup we got going on where I could just tune in at 10, 12, and 2 o'clock.
One of our earlier podcast episodes not too long ago previewed the World Cup, and it really has been fun to have the games on during weekdays, during work, the time zone situation being played halfway around the world.
Yeah,
I love it. I'm a fan. All right, let's go, Rob. Let's talk some college football here. Everybody wanted to know who is going to be in this year's college football playoff. Now, 4 teams can only make it, and we had some drama play out on championship weekend with USC losing their Pac-12 championship to Utah. Oh, by the way, that's the only team they've lost to all season. They lost by 1 point to the Utes in overtime at Utah, and then championship game, they lose to Utah again. So 2 losses, 1 team, they're out. What'd you think of the TCU Kansas State game?
Well, TCU has never been a team this year to run away with a game. There has been drama in every single one of their games. Baylor TCU was probably one of the craziest endings in college football this year. So I expected a tight game. I expected a barn burner. Because K-State and TCU can put up some points for sure. And that's what it gave us, an overtime thriller. I thought there were some weird calls for TCU that probably should have, they should have thought about those calls a little bit more. But, it was exciting. Now, I am shocked that they did not move down to 4 or, out of the playoff because of that loss. They just remained steady Eddie at 3.
It was really bizarre. You're right. Team loses, doesn't drop, and then I think because there was really nobody else out there, they slid Ohio State up because USC lost, but they didn't really have anywhere to put TCU because Michigan dominated in their championship game. Georgia did the same. So it was like, man, TCU earned it all season long. You can't possibly leapfrog Ohio State into 3, could you? Maybe? What?
Yeah, so that was interesting. And then they definitely weren't going to get out of the top 4. Bama, not your year this year. You had 2 bad losses, not impressive wins. Tennessee could have been their year, but they lost to South Carolina in a game that they should have dominated. But, it is what it is, and that's the college football Final Four until 2023, 2024, I believe, 2024. That's when it'll be open to 12 teams.
That's right. So we'll have this format for this year, obviously. We'll do it again next year. And then the Wild Wild West sets in with 12 teams galore. We will get to that years down the road from now. But here we are in 2022 talking about Bowl Mania. The 13-member committee had selected Georgia, Michigan, TCU, and Ohio State. And they're going to play on New Year's Eve. We'll get into those games in just a little while. But Rob, let's kick things off. Let's talk about the bowls themselves. First and foremost, you see it every year. This year, the first game, the Bahamas Bowl. What a great way to start the bowl mania.
Oh yeah, week before Christmas, you go down to the Bahamas, you have some fun, you get some sun, you go to the beach, you have a great time. That is just like an absolute relaxing, relaxing bowl game. I mean, the weather's going to be pretty hot. It's going to probably be in the 90s for the game. But it's a heck of a lot better than going to Shreveport, Louisiana, or Boise, Idaho.
I'll tell you what, Rob, out of the 43 bowls, you got the big ones, everybody loves those, the Rose Bowl and all the other goodies. I got to tell you, if I was a college football player, I think I'd want to be in the Bahamas Bowl. It's got to be really good this time of year.
Yeah, and you got Miami of Ohio, cold weather area. They're going to enjoy some sunshine, and UAB as well. So they're going to get to enjoy themselves. And
Who do you like, Rob?
Well, before we get into the picks, I just want to give a shout out to our dear mother. Me being her favorite son, I have to give a little shout out here. We do this Brant Family College Football Mania Pick'em Challenge, and our dear mother, it's a group of like 10, 15 of us. Our mom, who knows nothing about college football, won the Pick'em Challenge last year.
Now, Rob, that says one of two things. Either it's bred deep into the Brant blood that you know how to pick college football games, and it starts with the mother hen. Or it says that none of us know anything about college football and anything is possible.
Both are great situations. I really don't know which one, but I might lean on the latter. I might not know a damn thing. So let's get into these and a perfect segue into our picks. Let's
have some fun.
So Rick, we got Miami of Ohio versus UAB. Who do you like in this one?
UAB, Rob. I like them going down there. I like them doing what they need to do down in the Bahamas and finishing the year off strong with a W.
All right, I'm going Miami of Ohio.
Fair enough. Perfect. You heard it there first, folks.
Dear friend of the pod, NFL analyst, Field Baldinger is an alumni of Miami of Ohio, so we have to root for the Hawks right there.
And that's pretty much how people pick bowl games. A lot of times that's how they pick the March Madness as well. Any type of affiliation, if you've heard of them, why not? Why not? You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. All right, moving on. We got two conference winners here of their respected conferences in the Orlando Cure Bowl. Cure is an insurance company, by the way, is UTSA, also known as the University of Texas San Antonio Roadrunners, versus Troy State. Both champions. Who you going with, Rick?
Rob, I like UTSA, the Roadrunners of San Antonio. Those guys have looked really good all season long. They have a stud running back. And just a little side note here, taking place in Orlando, Florida, Camping World Stadium. That stadium gets utilized most out of all the stadiums for bowl games. So they kick off the fun the first day, December 16th. They'll have the afternoon cap at 2 p.m. Eastern time on ESPN. And I like the Roadrunners. How about yourself?
There we go. I'm going to go with the Roadrunners as well. I like them. I follow Aaron Jones in the NFL, and he went to UTSA, I believe. He went to there. Actually, no, he went to El Paso, so completely disregard everything I'm saying. But I really like the University of Texas San Antonio. Let's go Roadrunners. Great mascot.
Okay, perfect. That sounds like a logical choice. Next up is the next day, which is December 17th. The bowl action just keeps going. And now we've got 3 games. First game on the docket is a fun one. It's Fenway. It's the bowl. It's Boston, Massachusetts. I loved when they started to incorporate.
Rick, we have 6 games here on the 17th.
Excuse me. 6 games. What a slate of games. 3 games. I pass out. I wake up for 3 more. It's going to be one hell of a day.
And we got a phenomenal one to kick off. This one is very fun in Boston, Massachusetts.
Boston, Massachusetts.
Ship it up to Boston. They are playing at Fenway Stadium, which is always fun to see. So it's the Fenway Bowl. They've turned the outfield and the infield into a football field. Cincinnati versus Louisville. Who you going with this 11 a.m. slate?
Give me the Bearcats.
Ooh, I like that. I like
Cincinnati.
that. Yeah, the Bearcats. I'm going to rally with you on the Bearcats there. I don't think the Cardinals have it. Saw a couple of their performances this year. Good enough to make the bowls, but I mean, Cincinnati's coming off that college football playoff year last year, so no stranger to the bowl games. All right, now we're going to shoot all the way across the country, and we're going to go to New Mexico, Albuquerque, New Mexico, for the New Mexico Bowl. We got Southern Methodist University, go Ponies, against the BYU Cougars at 2:15. What do you got, Rick?
Rob, I'm a Dallas man here. I live in Dallas, Texas, right down the street from SMU. I love what they've done. New coach this year with Sonny Dykes shipping over to Fort Worth to lead the TCU Horned Frogs into the college football playoff. But SMU really hasn't skipped a beat. They've looked really good. They made top 10 plays, biggest blooper of the year when their pony scampered across the field, leaving some doo-doo across the field. But hey, you know what? Happens to the best of them. It's happened to me before. We know it's happened to you many times.
Hey, everybody poops, Rick. Everybody poops, baby.
I'm taking the SMU Ponies to knock off the BYU Cougars. What do you say?
I'm also going to go with the Go Ponies. I've always liked SMU. They had Cole Beasley, alumni of SMU, and you're in Dallas, so we're going to go with SMU there. Moving on.
Rob, may I talk about this next one here?
Yeah, jump in.
It's the Los Angeles Bowl, and it's being played at SoFi Stadium, the greatest stadium in the world, okay? So this stadium hosted the Super Bowl last year, and it is going to host the college football national championship game this season. So
how cool is that?
How cool is that? The 4 teams that are competing in the semifinals on New Year's Day, the winners will face off at SoFi Stadium in Inglewood, California. So, as a precursor to the championship, on the same field, we've got Washington State and Fresno State, Rob.
Love it. Who are you going with? I know who I'm going with in this one.
I just love the Pacific Northwest matchup there. I love those 2 teams going head to head. Fresno, it's got to be Fresno, right? You can't not go against Fresno.
Can't not go against Fresno. They dominated this year, okay? They dominated, but I'm going to go with the Washington State Cougars.
My mind is blown. You're going with the Cougars? Washington State?
Washington State
Cougars. I think that flag on College Game Day has brainwashed you.
It's in my head.
It's in my head.
It's in my head.
All right, fair enough. Moving on. The Lending Tree Bowl gets the action started in the evening here. Rob, this is taking place in Mobile, Alabama, okay? And Rice takes on Southern Miss. So in that matchup, Rob, I think there's only one option, and it's got to be Rice.
I'm going to go with the Golden Eagles, Southern Miss.
Whoa, shockers all around tonight. We're still in the first weekend.
Oh, yeah, we're still in the same day, Ricky.
All right. Here's another one. This is a cool bowl. A few years ago, they created this new stadium down in Las Vegas where the Raiders now play their NFL games. And out of it was created the Las Vegas Bowl. This year, Rob, I love this matchup. I feel like we're going to see some sweet uniforms. I think we're going to see a lot of orange out there.
Yep.
The Gators of Florida take on the Beavers of Oregon State. This is on ABC. It's a 7:30 Eastern kickoff. What do you make of the Las Vegas Bowl?
I'm going with Oregon State Beavers chomping down that tree.
Yes, sir. I've got the Beavs as well. It's Beav Nation over here.
Love that.
Now, the final game of the night, Brothers Brant special here, a Frisco Bowl taking place in Frisco, Texas. You've been to Frisco. I've been to Frisco. We love Frisco.
Who doesn't love Frisco? Bosco.
Hey.
Bosco.
Bosco's the password. Bosco. A Seinfeld reference once again rears its ugly head. Excellent. North Texas, Rob, takes on Boise State. Our beloved Boise State comes to Frisco. What do you think, Rob? I mean, Boise State, they dropped their conference championship game at home. You think they can rebound against North Texas, who essentially will be playing a home game in Frisco?
I'm going with the Mean Green of North Texas.
I am going to say the same, Rob. I've seen a lot of bumper stickers out this fall. The team has done well. I like them at home. Boise State, I love the blue turf, but I just think that they get it done. North Texas.
Absolutely.
Moving on.
We're going to Conway, South Carolina for the Myrtle Beach Bowl. This is where Coastal Carolina plays their home games. And we went from talking about blue turf, Rick, to now we're talking about teal turf. This is teal turf they got in Conway, South Carolina. And it's Marshall versus the UConn Huskies, who are making their first playoff bowl appearance in quite some time. So
it has been a long time.
Who do you got in this one, Huskies or we are Marshall?
I got the Thundering Herd of Marshall, Rob. They've played well all season long. UConn, I think they might just be excited to be in the dance. I think they're just excited to have a postseason game. Maybe they won't go out there and give it a valiant effort, but I like Marshall. I think that conference plays really strong, and I wouldn't be surprised if they put up a big number on these boys from UConn.
Okay. I'm going to go with UConn. Huskies.
Hey, I'm not going to talk you out of it. So we talked about Frisco. We talked about Conway, and now we go to Boise, Idaho, not to see the Broncos, not to see the blue turf defended by its home team, but rather we go to the famous Idaho Potato Bowl. Probably I'd put it in the top 3 best bowl names.
Yeah.
The famous Idaho Potato Bowl.
Definitely.
It's played on the blue turf, home of the Boise State Broncos. And this one matches up Eastern Michigan and San Jose State. Both teams have had good seasons. Obviously, they're bowl eligible here. They're playing in the famous Idaho Potato Bowl, so that's got to be a lot of motivation right there. I like Eastern Michigan. I saw them play on a couple Tuesday, Wednesday nights down the stretch. I liked what they were doing.
Yeah, I'm going to go Eastern Michigan as well. We got the next one here, Boca Raton, Florida for the Boca Raton Bowl. Liberty versus Toledo.
Liberty's the better team, okay? Here's the problem. Their coach just jumped ship, just got a new gig. I don't like Liberty with some interim head coach. I think the program might be in disarray. This is not a good time to be taking the field. And you're playing against a good Toledo team that scores a lot of points. Give me Toledo.
Toledo Rockets to the moon for me as well, Ricky.
I love it.
Shooting down to Nolens, where they're going to be battling for more than the beads on Bourbon Street for the New Orleans Bowl. Western Kentucky Hilltoppers against South Alabama.
South Alabama's right around the corner. You got a lot of family and friends making the drive over. Not a long drive over there to New Orleans. Hilltoppers, though, Rob, they played in the postseason. They know what it's about. They're gonna just be ready to rock and roll. It's gonna be a brawl, but I got Western Kentucky.
I got the Hilltoppers as well. Now we go back to the Dallas-Fort Worth area for the Armed Forces Bowl on December 22nd in Fort Worth. Baylor versus Air Force. Who do you have in this one, Rick?
Cool matchup, but for me, it's a no-brainer. Baylor was a great team this season. They're playing virtually a home game. I like the Baylor Bears to knock off Air Force. How about yourself?
Absolutely. Baylor Bears. They almost had that win against the number 3 team in the nation, and I think that they're going to punch the ticket, especially being a home game for them. All right. And now we go down to Shreveport, Louisiana for the Independence Bowl. Louisiana versus Houston. What do you think?
I don't have a lot of friends down in Shreveport, Rob, but from what I've heard, the people tell me down there that this is a big deal, all right? I've driven through the area, and they live and breathe and die for this Independence Bowl game. I mean, people have died for it, Rob. That's how big of a deal it is. And we'll be watching. It's 3 p.m. kickoff, a couple days before Christmas. Houston. We have no problem, okay? I really like Houston on this one, Rob. How about yourself?
I'm going with the home team right here, Louisiana. Let's go. Louisiana versus Houston. I'm going with Louisiana.
All right, listen, home field advantage perhaps, but I think Houston is just a little too good. But we'll see. We'll see.
All right.
Next up, Rob, Gasparilla Bowl. This is in Tampa, Florida, home of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And this is a really good game. I think this is an underrated game right here, okay? Missouri, who almost beat Georgia earlier this year, SEC Missouri, taking on a Wake Forest team. Demon Deacons looked really good at the beginning of the season. They had some phenomenal games. Their quarterback was lights out.
Oh, yeah.
They were a player or two away from knocking off UNC and Clemson. Yep. I love Wake Forest, but I think Missouri is just going to be a little too big, a little too powerful for them. But I think this is an underrated, phenomenal game.
I'm going with the Demon Deacons here. Wake Forest.
Take them.
I like them.
Take them.
I like them.
Take them.
All right. Then we go, you want to talk about locations for a bowl game? You got the Bahamas Bowl. You got all the other bowls, and you got the Hawaii Bowl in Honolulu, Hawaii. Talk about a team that will never get out there. Middle Tennessee, Blue Raiders, and then the San Diego State Aztecs. Who are you taking, Rick? Blue Raiders
or Aztecs? It's a shorter trip for the Aztecs. Middle Tennessee is just going to be happy to be in great weather. They're just going to be on vacation mode. I think San Diego State gets it done. They've been out to Hawaii. They know what the deal is. They know how to travel. This bowl game, by the way, I know we talked Bahamas, but this one's up there, probably right there, maybe even number one, frankly. And then I would just say in a couple of years when Hawaii has that new stadium built,
man, it's going to be beautiful.
That's going to be the time to get out there for that game.
Absolutely. And
what
then
do you like in this one?
I'm going with the Aztecs as well. I think they've I haven't seen their schedule, but I'm sure they're used to playing Hawaii every so often. They might be in the WAC with them, so I think that's going to be a good game for them. And then Middle Tennessee State is just a fish out of water, just not used to being in the beautiful Hawaii atmosphere. They're not going to know what to do with themselves. They're going to get laid down by San Diego State Aztecs.
What you did there. I see what you did there.
Now
gravy train moving along. Go ahead, Rob. Talk to us about the Detroit one.
We go from one destination, one travel destination that is an absolute must on anyone's agenda, to another location, Rick. And we are talking about Motor City, Detroit, Michigan. I mean, if you haven't been to the Motor City in December, put it on your list. Put it on your list, Rob, December.
It is a top 400 place to visit, okay, in the month of December. And I would recommend it.
I'm tired. That was good.
This is the Quick Lane Bowl, all right? And
get that oil going. Get that oil going.
Bowling Green is taking on New Mexico State. I love New Mexico State, but not in this game. Give me Bowling Green in Detroit, day after Christmas, 2:30 p.m. kick. Can't wait to watch it.
Absolutely. Bowling Green here as well. Now we're going to December 27th, and this is in Montgomery, Alabama, the Camellia Bowl, and it's a Georgia Southern versus Buffalo.
Rob, for me, it's going to be Buffalo. They punched their ticket in the last game of the year. It was a makeup game. They played on the final weekend just this past Saturday, got the W, became bowl eligible. I think they are going to continue and win this game.
I think you're right. I'm going to go with the Buffalo Buffs as well.
That's what I'm here to do, is to help persuade you into accurate picks.
All right. So for our second game of the day at 3:15, we got the First Responder Bowl in Dallas, Texas. Memphis Tigers against the Utah State. I'm blanking on their name, but Utah State.
Utah State is okay, but I like Memphis. We'll see some nice jerseys, some nice helmets. Give me Memphis in this one, Rob.
Yep, I'm going Memphis as well. Rick, tell our listeners about the next one.
All right, so this game takes place down in Birmingham, Alabama. It's also known as the Birmingham Bowl. And I do have people that I know that are from Birmingham. They love this bowl. East Carolina versus Coastal Carolina. So you're matching up the two Coastal
Wow.
Carolina, Eastern Carolina teams. They're pretty close to each other in
Good.
proximity, but they decided to go all the way to Alabama to take on each other. This is
Mm-hmm.
a noon kick. It's going to be a great game, and I like East Carolina. Go Pirates!
Go Pirates there. I'm going to go with Coastal Carolina. The Chanticleers.
Hey, you take them, brother. They've been a good team the last few years. That's not a bad pick.
Yep. And then we're going to Phoenix, Arizona for the Guaranteed Bowl.
Rob, this game is actually being played at Chase Field, home of the Arizona Diamondbacks baseball team, where
Wow.
we were over Labor Day weekend. So this is going to be a cool venue, another Major League Baseball park being utilized. It's going to be awesome. I think this is an underrated great bowl game as well.
Mm-hmm.
Wisconsin, Oklahoma State, they're going to have great uniforms. I'm excited to watch this. This is the only bowl game on Fox, by the way. So you'll have to get off ESPN and switch on over to Fox for this one.
Okay, yeah. So I'm going with Pocum Cowboys. Let's go Oklahoma State. Who do you got?
I like the Cowboys too. Give me Gundy, Coach Gundy. I love it.
Coach Gundy. And here we have the Military Bowl the next day to kick off 2 p.m. And it's in one of my favorite cities in America. If you have not been to Annapolis, Maryland, you need to put it on your list. It's a small city. You can just do it in a day. No big deal. Great city. Lots of rich history. Military Bowl. UCF Knights versus the Duke Blue Devils. Who do you have?
I like Duke, Rob. I really do. And call me crazy here, but I think they're going to come out guns a-blazing, and they're going to take down the Knights. People have been high on the Knights. The Knights aren't who we thought they were. So I like the Duke Blue Devils in this one. Who do you like?
Well, Rick, they were who we thought they were, and we let them off the hook. And I'm going with the Knights, baby.
If you want to crown them, crown them.
Crown their ass.
All right, fine, fair enough. Over to the Liberty Bowl in Memphis, Tennessee. Talk about a great city. Memphis, Tennessee hosts Arkansas.
Rick, I gotta interrupt you here. I don't throw shade at a lot of places, but Memphis, Tennessee is not a nice city.
Well, maybe I was mistaken, but Rob, Kansas got off to a hot start this year. I mean, they were 5-0. They were ranked. They hosted College Game Day, and then what happened? The air got out of the balloon. You know what happens when the air gets out of the balloon?
Doesn't come back in.
Doesn't come back in. And Rob, I don't think it comes back in this season. I think Arkansas, the Razorbacks, get it done. Give me the Razorbacks.
Okay. Well, this is going to be really interesting because, Rick, you can't spell Arkansas without Kansas.
I see what you did there, and you know I can't spell well.
It's laid out there right on the screen for you. So I'm going with Rock Chalk Jayhawk. We are in Kansas.
Fair enough. I like what you did there. Sonny boy.
You better like that shit.
All right. Take me to San Diego, California, the Holiday Bowl.
San Diego, aka Wales. I can't say that on the Brothers Brand podcast. It is not appropriate. It is an Anchorman quote, and we're just going to move on from there. It is the North Carolina Tar Heels versus the Oregon Ducks.
We're going to see great uniforms in this game. It's also being played at Petco Park, home of the San Diego Padres.
What is going on with these baseball stadiums?
Our dear friend Alex Miniak, voice of the San Diego Padres in Petco Park, former podcast guest, will be the public address announcer for this game.
Will he really?
I'm excited, Rob. I think the uniforms are going to be great. I think this is another one of those games that I'm circling this one. I can't wait to watch it. Give me the Oregon Ducks in what would probably be the best uniforms.
I think these uniforms are going to be fantastic. I don't know what the Ducks are going to do, but I hope that UNC does the powder blues all day. That would be amazing. The powder blue white. I think UNC has the best combo. The
Ducks fly together. Quack, quack.
Quack, quack. But I am going with the Tar Heels. I love this quarterback that they have. He is fantastic. He's a lot of fun to watch. He's going to put up a lot of points in this game. It's going to be a shootout.
Yeah,
And
Mr. May can really throw the ball around. I thought they were going to do what everybody thought they were going to do and beat Clemson in the ACC championship
yeah, it's
game.
unfortunate.
This is their pretty much, participation trophy. I mean, I don't think these guys really want to be there. They're going to enjoy San Diego, don't get me wrong, but I think the Oregon Ducks are a little too much. Speaking of a little too much, Rob, I was going through all these bowl games, and when I was looking at them, Rob, this next one made me drop my paper and say, whoa, that is so cool. And the reason why is because, Rob, it is the Texas Bowl being played in Houston, Texas, home of the Houston Texans NFL team. We've been there before for a Texans team.
Yes.
But
yes.
we've also been there for a college football kickoff game. This was years ago to start the season when Texas Tech took on Ole Miss. And Rob, you and I were wearing these hats on game day to cheer on the Red Raiders. But in this game, I'm going with Ole Miss.
Hotty toddy.
What about you, Rob? What do you
I'm going with Hotty toddy. Lane Kiffin. Let's go.
They've really sputtered down the stretch, but I think they're the better team. Hopefully they put on a good show for the people.
Absolutely. And now we go to the Boogie Down Bronx in the Pinstripe Bowl with almost home team Syracuse versus Minnesota Golden Gophers. Who are you going with this one, Rick?
Rob, the stadium is going to be as orange as a orange. I like the Syracuse Orangemen at home in New York. You?
I'm going to go with the home team as well. A lot of fans in the New York City area for Syracuse. It's going to be popping. I want them to go home with the win right there.
Yeah,
but
I love seeing them play at Yankee Stadium. Let's get back down to Orlando where all the action happens during bowl season.
Absolutely.
This, Rob, is the aforementioned Cheez-It Bowl, and it is Oklahoma and Florida State, essentially a home game for the Seminoles. Do you think they get it done, or does Oklahoma come in and show them how the Sooners play ball?
It's no Boomer Sooner. It's Florida State, chop them down. Let's go Seminoles.
I'm with you on that one, Rob. Let's slide on back to Texas, though. Head on down to San Antonio for a classic, the Alamo Bowl, played in the Alamo Dome.
Remember the Alamo. And we got the Texas Longhorns fighting with all their will to protect the Alamo against the Washington Huskies.
What do you think of this game, Rob? Any thoughts on this?
Well, I think I'm going to go with Texas because you're at home. I will say it's going to be. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I would smash the over on this. You got a phenomenal quarterback in Washington, Penix, who likes to sling it over 300 yards on average, and then Quinnen Ewers. It's going to be a high-scoring game. Also, the running back out of Texas is an absolute beast. So, yeah, I'm going to go with Texas.
Yeah, I'm with the Longhorns, Rob, but I think it's going to be a great game. Can't wait to watch that one. Talk to me about the next one, the Duke's Mayo Bowl down in Charlotte, North Carolina.
This one is always the grossest bowl because there are some college kids that are dousing themselves in mayo, and I think last year, like an ESPN analyst, like put the mayo jar all in his head and ruined his suit. It is disgusting. I hate mayo. Not a big fan of mayo in general. Not Dukes. Not throwing any shade at Dukes. Just mayo in general. I gotta say, fear the turtle on this one. Maryland versus the Wolfpack. I know it's in North Carolina. I know it's a stone's throw away from Raleigh, but I'm going with the fear the turtle on this one. I loved how they showed up. Tua Tagovailoa's brother. I like this. I like fear the turtle.
You know, Rob, NC State and the Wolfpack, they've had something brewing down there for a little while now, getting a little bit of momentum. Maryland under the radar, had a really nice year this year. I really thought that, listen, there's tiers in that conference. You got the Michigans, you got the Ohio State, Penn States. I wouldn't be surprised if Maryland jumps up and maybe next year, maybe gives one of those heavyweights a run for their money. I like them to carry some momentum into the offseason with this win, to take some mayonnaise into the offseason. Give me the Terrapins.
I like that. All right, shooting back down to Texas where everything's happening. El Paso, Texas, the Sun Bowl versus Pittsburgh, and a city that is known for its sun, UCLA. Who do you got, Pittsburgh or UCLA, Rick?
Rob, I like the Bruins. I like what Coach Kelly has done all season. Pittsburgh, I've already read some stuff about a couple people heading out for the draft, few people entering in the transfer portal. I just think, they lost Kenny Pickett last year to the Pittsburgh Steelers. They had a good season this year, not a great season. This is the only game on CBS. Looking forward to watching it. And I got the Bruins from LA. How about you?
Same. We're going to go with UCLA on this one. Pretty simple. They're going to take care of business against the Pitt Panthers.
Rob, let me talk to the listeners about this next one here. In fact, former Brothers Brant podcast guest, Mr. Greg McGarity, former athletic director at the University of Georgia.
Yes.
He is the chairman of the Gator Bowl down in Jacksonville, home of the Jacksonville Jaguars. And this year's matchup is a fun one. It's South Carolina Gamecocks, Notre Dame Fighting Irish. I think both teams had hoped for just a little bit better season. I think they were both thinking they'd be playing in maybe a New Year's Six type bowl game. They might be a year or two away. I like the Gamecocks. They're hot right now, Rob. How about yourself?
Yeah, I mean, the Gamecocks came off that big win. Notre Dame, they do travel well. I'd like to see the Fighting Irish win this one. I think Notre Dame will take care of business here.
Well, this will be the first game, Rob, where we've got two ranked opponents going against each other, I believe. So we're starting to get into the heat of things. The next game, Rob, is actually the Barstool Arizona Bowl. It's on Barstool. You have to stream it on Barstool. They started this a couple years ago. Unfortunately, I won't be watching. I just don't think I get that. It's Ohio versus Wyoming. Give me Wyoming and Tucson, Arizona.
Yep, I'm gonna go with the Cowboys as well on this one. Let's go with Wyoming. Next, we got Miami Gardens, Florida, the Orange Bowl. This one will be a good one, filled with two teams that are decorated in orange. University of Tennessee Volunteers versus the Clemson Tigers. Who do you got, Rick? Tennessee or Clemson? This one's going to be a really good one, a barn burner.
Well, I thought so, but then I said to myself, wait a second. Tennessee lost their quarterback, stud quarterback. He's out for the year. And then Clemson put their true freshman quarterback in during the ACC championship game. The kid performed really well, 5-star recruit. He's going to be a stud at Clemson, no doubt about it. I do think the Tigers, I think they get the job done. I think they're the better team. Coach Dabo Swinney will have the boys ready to rock and roll. And this is the first major game, Rob. This is the Orange Bowl. This is a classic, okay? So give me the Clemson Tigers. I'm sure you're with the Tigers as well.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah, I figured that much. And you know what I have to say about that? Go Tigers.
Go Tigers. Now, the next one, again, these are a couple of teams with a little bit of interesting storylines toward the ends of the year. The Kansas State Wildcats coming off a Big 12 victory championship, riding high, and Alabama being left out of the SEC championship game and also being snubbed for a spot in the college football final, like sitting at the 5th spot. So I think you got a really angered, annoyed Alabama tied right here. And then you got the riding high Wildcats. It's a toss-up, Rick. I don't know. Who do you have? I'm going to defer to you first.
All right, sure. First, Rob, New Orleans is the second home to the Alabama Crimson Tide. Just like the Georgia Bulldogs benefit from playing in Athens and just sliding over to Atlanta? Well, almost always. Alabama, the Crimson Tide, Nick Saban have played their bowl games in New Orleans. And I think between that, him being the GOAT, them being upset they didn't make it in the playoff, Kansas State, Rob, is on fire right now. Wouldn't surprise me if they took this one. I do like the GOAT. I can't go against the GOAT. It's like going against Brady. You just don't do it. Give me Alabama.
I'm going roll tide roll on this one too.
Early kickoff, by the way. Early kickoff. Normally the Sugar Bowl is reserved for a late night game, but this is an early one. That could throw things for a loop. Maybe Kansas State gets it done. Maybe. What do you make of the Music City Bowl in Nashville, Tennessee that afternoon, Rob, between Iowa and Kentucky?
I think that this is going to be one of the lowest scoring games, one of the most boring games you watch all bowl game. But give me those Wildcats, baby. Something about the checkered blue on the sleeve. I'm going with the Kentucky Wildcats.
As am I. I like Kentucky in this one. Let's keep this gravy train rolling as we get into the premier games here. Here we go, Rob. Here we go. It is the college football semi-playoff game between TCU and Michigan.
Going Michigan.
You got to go with Michigan. They've been the best team all year. They've looked so darn good. I mean, come on. Coach Harbaugh has the boys ready to rock and roll. It's out in Glendale, Arizona, the Fiesta Bowl. Mm-hmm. And I think go blue. They're going to be in the national championship game. But, Rob, who are they going to be playing against?
Man. I got to go against my gut and say Ohio State Buckeyes.
So in the Peach Bowl, that night on New Year's Eve, Atlanta, Georgia, the Bulldogs lose their first game of the year to the Buckeyes, and we get a rematch of the game for the national championship. That would be epic, Rob. Unfortunately, my gut tells me it doesn't happen, and the best team all year takes on the second best team all year, Georgia and Michigan. We'll see how it shakes out, but those are going to be two phenomenal games to watch on New Year's Eve. Before we get to the national championship, let's just wrap up the next slate of games before we get to the big one. Here we go, Rob. All right.
We got four games. We're in the new year. We got 4 games on the second. We got the highly anticipated ReliaQuest Bowl in Tampa, Florida, facing Mississippi State versus the Fighting Illini of Illinois. Who do you have, Rick?
Well, Rob, it's funny because this bowl game, for all you football fans out there, those college football enthusiasts have always known this bowl as the Outback Bowl, sponsored by Outback Steakhouse. It got a new sponsor this year, so you're not going to see the Outback Bowl on New Year's Day, and you're not going to see any college football on New Year's Day because it falls on a Sunday reserved for the NFL. So that following day, you're going to see these slates of games. I like Mississippi State in this first one, Rob. How about yourself?
Hail State, let's go Mississippi. I like it. Now we go, Rick, to the Cotton Bowl in Arlington, Texas, where we have the Tulane Green Wave versus the USC Trojans. Who do you have in this one?
Rob, USC Trojans, Caleb Williams, that quarterback, Heisman hopeful. They head to Arlington. And you got to believe they're bummed. They're not playing for the college football championship, but they're going to be playing in Arlington for the Cotton Bowl against the Tulane team that, Rob, they did what they had to do. They won their conference, and by the rules, by the letter of the rules, they get to be in a New Year's 6 bowl game. Unfortunately, I don't think they're going to be enough. I don't think the Green Wave gets it done. I think the Trojans fight on. How about you?
Fight on. I like that. Yeah, Trojans fight on. Disappointing loss to Utah, falling out of the college football rankings. Yeah, it's going to be USC. And next we go to the granddaddy of them all.
Before we get to
that, we go to the Citrus Bowl. Sorry, LSU and Purdue.
Rob, LSU and Purdue are playing in the Citrus Bowl. I love fruit. this is going to have oranges, lemons, pineapples, all the different fruits you could possibly think of. Put citrus together. Give me a bowl
They're
game.
gonna have a mango in there or something.
Gotta have a mango. Come on, it's a citrus bowl now.
Right.
And unfortunately, the Tigers, they didn't finish the way you had hoped they would finish the season, losing down the stretch to the Texas A&M Aggies, and then getting just stomped by the Georgia Bulldogs in the SEC championship game. First-year head coach Kelly, I think he's done all he could with this team. I think that they had a lot of transfers come in. They had lost a lot when Coach O had left. So Purdue, man, wow. Did they look sharp at the beginning of that game against Michigan? I thought maybe we'd see an upset, but I still like the Tigers. I can't go against the Tigers, Rob. I got the Tigers in this one. You?
Let's go Tigers.
Go Tigers. All right. The granddaddy of them all, Rob. Tell us, lay the stage out for the Rose Bowl.
So episodes back, I think it was last year, you and I did an episode on the Rose Bowl. We did Pasadena, California. This is a very unique stadium. It has so much history. It's hosted NFL championships, Super Bowls, World Cups, Olympics, everything. And this is the granddaddy of them all. It used to be the national championship years ago. And now it is the winner of the Big Ten it is a Big Ten opponent versus a Pac-12 opponent. And we have Penn State versus Utah. And Rick, I gotta go with the Utah Utes.
There's nothing wrong with that, Rob. They've played really well this season. They've been a great team. Penn State's there, and the reason why they're in this game is because Michigan and Ohio State, the two teams, by the way, that gave Penn State their only losses this season, those two teams are in the college football playoff. Had they not been, they would be in Pasadena, but it'll be Penn State. And I like the Nittany Lions to get it done, Rob. They're comfortable. They've gone out there before. I think they've got a really solid team. They don't have a great team because the great teams are in the college football playoff. But I think they have a really good team, a solid defense. Give me the Nittany Lions in the Rose Bowl. And then we sit back and we wait a week. The anticipation builds for the final bowl game of the season. You have, correct me if I'm wrong, Michigan versus Ohio State.
Correct.
That's what we all want. I don't think we're going to get it. I think we're going to get Georgia and Michigan. So, Rob, tell me, who wins the college football playoff in 2022-2023 season?
It's going to be the Michigan Wolverines.
Wow. Go Blue. Shout out to all of our friends up in Ann Arbor, Michigan. Unfortunately, I think the Georgia Bulldogs do something that nobody has done in a really, really, really long time. I think the Bulldogs repeat. I think they win the national championship. They go wire to wire, and that's how the whole thing finishes out. Stetson Bennett, back-to-back MVPs. Give me the Bulldogs. That's it, folks. Enjoy the college football bowl mania from the Brothers Brandt. For all you listeners out there, I'm Rick Brandt.
And I'm Rob Brandt, and we're the Brothers Brandt. Thanks for listening.